They say some temples hold more than just peace. They hold secrets, and some secrets are best left untouched. This story comes from a man named Sam Fow, who once, as a boy, followed his father deep into the mountains to a temple that practiced in silence, in seclusion, and in fear. He was only 13, a novice monk. His father, already a fully ordained monk, was known for wandering, meditating in the forest, moving temple to temple. But this place was different. When they arrived, the abbot greeted them kindly. But before offering shelter, he gave one rule, one warning. If you're staying here, you must never leave your hut on the holy night. No matter what you hear, no matter what you see, do not come out unless a monk calls for you. Strange, isn't it? But in the monastery, you obey, especially when you're just a boy. So Sam Fow nodded, and that night, he laid his mat down in the small wooden hut, alone, as the wind rustled through the mountain trees and the cries of monkeys echoed in the dark. He closed his eyes, trying to sleep, but then a sound, drums, not the soft, rhythmic call to prayer. This was frantic, erratic, bam, 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 bam. It came from the old bell tower. He sat up. Was it a ritual? A warning? Or something else? He thought of the abbot's words. No matter what you hear, do not leave your hut. But curiosity is louder than fear. And so, barefoot and shaking, the young novice opened the creaking door, stepped out into the moonlight, and walked toward the sound that would change him forever. The night was quiet, except for the drums. Not ceremonial, not sacred, but violent, desperate, chaotic. Bam, 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 bam. Young Sam Fow crept toward the bell tower, heart hammering louder than the drum. The air felt wrong, heavy, charged, and the shadows moved. He reached the clearing and looked up. That's when he saw it. A creature, towering, hunched, not human. Its back was massive, so broad it blocked the moonlight. The arms, long and muscular, slammed down again and again on the temple drum, but not with sticks, with hands, charred, blackened, cracked like burnt wood. Each strike echoed through the forest like thunder. Bam, 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 bam. Frozen in terror, Sam Fow stared until it stopped. And then, slowly, as if it heard his thoughts, it turned. Its face was hidden behind a cloth, old, dirty, tied tightly around its head like a funeral shroud. But even without eyes, Sam Fow knew. It saw him. The thing let out a low growl. Then it jumped. Crash. Landing just feet away. The earth shook. The air turned ice cold. Sam Fow couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't scream. He was face to face with something that should not exist. And then, a voice behind him, soft, urgent, novice. Don't move. A senior monk stepped between them, arms outstretched. It won't harm you. Just stay calm. You're safe now. But Sam Fow didn't feel safe. Not with that thing still watching him. Not when it began to smile behind the shroud. By morning, the terror had faded, but the questions remained. What did he see on the tower? And why did the monk seem unsurprised? That day, the abbot summoned Sam Fow to the main hall. He said nothing at first, just handed him an old, faded photograph. A group of monks, some villagers, and in the front, a monkey, small, black, sitting calmly, hands in a respectful Y. It looked almost human. Kyodum, the abbot said, the black fawn. He was no ordinary monkey. Bright, gentle, beloved by all. During ceremonies, he would sit quietly beside the monks. At meal offerings, he'd help carry baskets for the elderly, a creature of warmth and grace. But that was before he came, a man from the village, bitter, paranoid, twisted by jealousy. He claimed Black Fong stole from his home, that the monkey was cursed, that it brought misfortune, and one night, he acted. He burned him alive. The temple never recovered. The villagers were horrified, but the man? He showed no remorse. Just a monkey, he said, but something about the death. It wasn't natural. The screams were inhuman, echoing for miles. And when they found the remains, his fawn was missing, ripped from the jaw, gone. That's when the drums began. Only on holy nights, only when the moon was full, the sound of vengeance, of grief, of a spirit torn from peace. And Sam Fow, he realized the creature he saw last night wasn't a ghost. It was him, Black Fong, but not as he was, as he'd become. They say not all spirits linger from hatred, some from pain, deep, burning, unforgivable. And the tale of the Black Fong is one such tale. It happened many years ago, on a quiet night, beneath the shadow of the mountain. The man, drunk on rage and ego, claimed the monkey had wronged him, that he stole food, that he brought bad luck. But it was never about food. It was power, control, cruelty. They dragged Black Fong from the temple grounds, the creature clinging to the robes of monks, confused, terrified. The villagers begged them to stop. Children cried. Elders wept. He's just a monkey, they said. He's family, they pleaded. But it didn't matter. He was thrown into a fire pit behind the man's home, bound, beaten, set alight, and through the crackling flames. He screamed, not like a monkey, not like an animal, but like something caught between two worlds. His howls tore the night apart, and in the morning, his body was gone, only ash, and a single, broken drumstick, near the temple bell tower. From that night forward, on every holy day, when the monks and novices retreated to their huts, the drum would sound, wild, erratic, furious, not from joy, not from ritual, but from unrest, a rhythm of wrath, echoing through the hills. Each beat said, I was wronged. I remember. I am still here. And the villagers? They stopped talking about it, because deep down, they knew they had watched and done nothing. Years passed. The novice left the ropes, became a man. Life moved on, or so he thought. He found work, moved to a new province. Coincidence, or fate, brought him back to Fetchaburi. A job offer, a team, a house already arranged, a quiet, one-story home, shaded by trees, secluded, too still. He didn't ask questions, not until the first night. The key was waiting in the door. No neighbors, no streetlights, just the creak of the wooden floor and the hum of silence. He turned the lock, pushed the door open. The smell hit him first, dust, and something older, like smoke soaked into walls. He shrugged it off. Inside, a shrine. No Buddha, just an old black and white photo. A man with pale eyes, tangled beard, and a necklace with something dark, like a fawn. He didn't like the way the photo stared. Then it happened. As he reached to close the front door, his eyes caught movement in the window pane. He leaned closer, peering into the glass, and there a face pressed against the outside of the glass. Pale, gaunt, translucent, veins like green vines beneath cracked skin, eyes wide and unblinking. He couldn't scream, couldn't move. The face just watched, then it vanished. He laughed it off. Stress, imagination, old house. That's what he told himself. But deep down, he knew that wasn't a stranger's face. He had seen it once before, long ago, in a dream. The house didn't rest. Each night it breathed heavier. Walls groaned, shadows moved, even when no one walked by. But it wasn't the monkey. Not this time. It was her. He saw her again. Same face. Pale, sickly, pressed against the window, like skin too soft for bones. Her mouth didn't move, but he heard her. Tick, tick, tick. A sound that echoed in his ears like nails tapping glass. He stumbled back, and his roommate, Lome, came running from the hallway. What's wrong, man? Before he could answer, Lome froze. Eyes wide, he pointed behind him. Lome panicked. SM, there's something behind you, he stammered. It's a monkey, no, a man, no, a thing. Lome's body snapped backward. Eyes rolled, foam at the mouth. He fell, convulsing, not because of her, but because of it. A massive black monkey, towering, muscled, loomed behind him for only a moment, then gone. They both survived the night. Barely, but that house had just spoken its first warning. Two spirits, one house, and both wanted to be seen. They thought, maybe it was just the stress, just a bad dream. But then more people moved in. Colleagues, friends. Some slept soundly, never saw a thing. Others weren't so lucky. One man, Tom, found a strange relic buried in a corner of the storage room. A small ceramic monkey head, chipped, eyes scorched black. He laughed, thought it was a prank. He brought it into his room. That night, he screamed himself hoarse, claimed he couldn't breathe. Something was holding his chest, whispering in a language no one understood. When they burst in, he was shaking, eyes rolled back, murmuring in a voice that wasn't his. Another, Ajarn Wad, kept hearing things behind the house. Rustling, coughing, digging. He thought it was a neighbor, but one night, he brought out a flashlight, walked toward the sound, and found something under the old tree. Not an animal, not a drain, but a shallow grave. He didn't sleep that night, because what was buried there wasn't buried deep enough. And by morning, something had dug its way out. The shallow grave. It belonged to her. The woman with the pale face, the veined skin, the sorrowful eyes pressed against the glass. She had a name, Nguyen. She had a secret, and she had a lover, one who didn't love her back. They said she vanished months before the house was rented. Everyone assumed she'd run off with him. No one suspected he had buried her with his own hands behind the house. behind the tree, behind the silence. The house wasn't just haunted. It was cursed, twice over. A monkey burned alive in hate. A woman buried in betrayal. Two restless spirits. Two deaths without peace. And somehow, they were connected. But how? Why this house? Why here? That question would be answered by the picture on the altar. In the dim altar room of the house, behind incense dust and broken frames, they found it. An old photo. A man with a long white beard, eyes sharp, neck heavy with talismans. He wasn't just the previous owner of the house. He was something else, a practitioner of the darkest kind. He was feared. Rumors said he could curse a man with just a glance, said he fed spirits with blood. But one thing the photo revealed shocked them all. Around his neck, strung between prayer beads, were two blackened, jagged objects. Fangs. Monkey fangs. He didn't kill out of hate. He killed for power, to trap the soul of something pure and use it. The monkey? The one who returns every holy night? The one who pounds the drum in pain? It was him, the Black Fawn. The truth was buried, but not forgotten, and neither was he. I never planned to return, but something pulled me back. A whisper, a weight, a wound that never really closed. Back to the temple, where it all began. Years had passed. The steps were easier now, the mountain less steep. Time had changed things, but not everything. Near the edge of the forested path, just before the old sala, stood something new, a small shrine, made of stone and shadow. At its center, a statue of a monkey, but not just any monkey. The carving was delicate, reverent. Its hands were folded, eyes closed, and on the plaque, just one name, the Black Fawn. I stepped closer, and that's when I saw it, a photo, faded with age, the same one we'd found in the haunted house. The old man with the beard, and behind him, the monkey, bound together. It hit me that their souls, one that stole and one that suffered, tethered by violence, entrapped here, both restless, both watching. You see, not all hauntings come from hatred. Some come from justice, unfinished, and some from a bond forged in blood. I placed a stick of incense, lit it with trembling hands, and whispered only one thing. Go now, both of you. But the wind didn't answer. It only carried the faintest echo, a beat, a single drum beat. He died badly, so he couldn't go peacefully. He was wronged, used, and buried in rage. And so, he beats the drum, not for prayer, not for ceremony, but to be remembered. And now you know his name, the Black Fawn.